Hello class, this is Harishika Wilson, and this is my presentation of the step function activity. Okay, this is the graph, and um, it's about the number of passengers being transported over time between the city and to the airport. On the graph, you can see that some of the steps have a closed end and open end. And the question is, why this characteristic important in order for the graph to represent a function? I think this is important because each closed point represents two numbers. For example, this closed point, it represents 10 on the y-axis of the number of passengers. And then it also represents, I believe, 60 on the x-axis for the minutes it took to drive to that point with the 10 passengers. And also, if you do the vertical line test and you go from a closed circle to an open circle, then it is a function. But if you do the vertical line test and you go from a closed circle to another closed circle, then it wouldn't be considered a function because you will have two closed circles, which means that you will have like, for example, this would be 20 passengers, and if this is another closed circle, it would be 14 passengers. So you can't have one closed circle can't represent two numbers on like the same line, like on the y-axis. So the next question, A, write a description of what is shown by this graph. And I wrote, this graph is showing a trip on an airport van from a city to an airport, and the information used in this graph is the number of passengers in the minutes and time, or the time in minutes. Also, here's the number of passengers, it's on the y-axis, and the time in minutes is on the x-axis here on the bottom. And I think it shows how long it takes the van to pick up the passengers and also drop off the passengers. And that's what I think this second set of steps are. And B, what does the long horizontal line segment on the graph represent? I think it's talking about this long line segment, well, the horizontal segment. I think it represents the van picking up the 20 passengers and driving to the airport, and it takes about, I think, about 80 minutes. Looks like it went down here on the maybe the 80-minute mark here, and then went maybe to the 170 here. So I think it took about 80 minutes to get the passengers to the airport. And back to this second line segment, I want to say this is the van dropping off the passengers maybe at different spots or terminals at the airport maybe. And at first I was thinking maybe the van dropped off all the 20 passengers here, and then minutes later maybe picked up new passengers, maybe throughout the airport, or picked up new passengers and dropped them off at different places. I don't know, but the numbers are going down, so maybe it's just picking up the passengers and dropping them off. But that's all I have for this presentation. Thank you.